Can you imagine a world without reading? Neither can we, and it seemed like a logical choice when given the opportunity to start our program known as Lead, Read, and Achieve. Knowledge is what gives us the power to overcome, and reading is how we get that power. I'm student scholar Abigail Wall.
And I'm educator Tina Carter. We're from Stanley County, North Carolina, and this is our project, Lead, Read, and Achieve. I want you all to think about your favorite book. I know I've got several in my mind right now. And the thing that they all have in common is they gave me a chance to dream and escape. And often our favorite books are the ones that have the biggest impact on us.
In 1 year, our high school went from 51% to 72% of students severely below grade level. Our scores aren't just declining, they're plummeting fast. And this was happening at our elementary schools too, with 70% of students reading below grade level at the beginning of the year. By speaking to our community of teachers, administrators, and county officials, we found out that the main reason our scores were so low was because most of the classroom material was, well, to be honest, dull and didn't keep students engaged. Students didn't enjoy reading in school and didn't want to read outside of school.
Now, our catalyst was the obvious drop in reading ability across our school population, and it does have a definite impact on their ability to learn. Quite a few of our high school graduates are lacking just the basic reading skills that are needed to adapt into adulthood. This is a problem, partly because of the apathy and just the feeling of inadequacy that comes with having a lower self-esteem. So it's kind of a snowball effect. It was apparent to us that our community was going to continue to struggle even more unless we figured out how to get students to feel like they were capable of more. Now, we got together with some educators and community leaders, and we got some ideas on what was needed for enhancing basic reading skills. How do we get our kids, our students, to want to read, to get immersed in those books? Our mission is to pair high school mentors with elementary school students, encouraging them to build their literacy skills in a supportive and engaging environment. This type of peer learning appeals to the younger students and gives them a desire to excel and read with meaning for those older students. It also energizes the high schoolers and gives them a feeling of accomplishment.
We officially launched our project last October, and we've noticed that by letting the high school students lead small groups, we've been able to get the kids to be more engaged with what they're reading. In our first and second grade classes, we found that a lot of the kids are more on track. A couple weeks ago, a group of them even wrote their own stories, and while most of them did the basic first, next, last structure with 3 or 4 sentences, some of them went above and beyond and wrote 5, 6, and 7 sentences. It's huge to know that not only do they enjoy it enough to want to write longer stories, but they have the capability to write longer stories, which would not have been possible at the beginning of the year. In our 4th grade classes, the goal was to get them to read to us eventually, but we found that by the 2nd or 3rd visit, they were already asking to read out loud to the group. And they were struggling less when they did so. A couple weeks ago, the only time they had to stop and ask me what a certain word was the word selkie, which I wouldn't have expected them to know in the first place. They're also becoming more creative with their predictions for what's going to happen next in the books, which wasn't an initial goal for us, but shows growth nonetheless. And then finally, with our high schoolers, even though we only work with junior and seniors, because of the structure of the high school schedule, I've noticed that they're both becoming better leaders and also becoming better readers. So many of us have fallen in love with books that we loved as kids, but we had lost track of. And we're also working with the local library to help make some of the library's resources more accessible to the students.
Now we look at challenges. Scheduling seemed to be our biggest issue. High school and elementary have very different daily schedules. So putting people in the right places at the right time was no easy feat. There was a time when we showed up at Richfield Elementary School for a 4th grade reading day, only to find out that they had gone on a field trip and they had forgotten to let us know. Our students made the most, high school educators made the most of this because they stayed behind and did some planning and shared their ideas and what the challenges were, and they planned some activities. 2 months into our project, the school librarian resigned and we had to find another point of contact. So learning to be flexible and learning to communicate at all levels is been something that has been a learning curve for especially the high schoolers. One of our fourth grade groups seemed to be really struggling to connect with the program and finding their comfort level with us. So we decided to spend a session with them and a larger group and let them design the LRA logo. Well, this gave them some ownership, and it gave the high school students a greater opportunity to bond with the students before just jumping right into the reading that day. After returning from the winter break, shortly after this, the students raced in with excitement, shouting, "They're back." So it seems like we're making some progress in that respect also.
Our vision is that all elementary students learn to enjoy reading, which will allow them to succeed in school and life. And we wanted to take a moment to thank everyone that came to watch our presentation today. It means the world to us to have so many people supporting our program. And Ms. Carter, would you like to add anything before we close out?
I do. I just want to say together, and I mean this, together, we absolutely intend to lead, read, and achieve with these students. And just make a difference in the kids for tomorrow.